Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Inside Rockets, the official podcast of City of Birmingham Rockets Basketball Club. We are once again going to be joined by Managing Director and founder Rob Palmer, but first, here's a roundup of the news from around the club. Coach Douglas's men's first team are back at home this Saturday as they prepare to take on Manchester Magic at Neutral's Wellbeing Centre. Tickets are still available to purchase on our website and are priced at £5 for adults and £2.50 for concessions. Elsewhere, our February half-term camp is filling up quickly with days available for those aged 5 to 17. The camp will run from the 21st to 25th of February and is priced at £20 per day for club members or £30 for non-members. And finally, sign-ups are well underway for our Hakeem Olajuwon International Summer Camp, and the two-time NBA champion is looking forward to getting involved.
The plan this year, God willing, that do all my possible best to be there, because I also try to bring the boys. They can, show their skills, see the improvement. So also, that'll be interesting to see. So I'm looking forward to the camp.
Okay, so I'm joined now by Rockets founder and managing director, Rob Palmer. Rob, how are you?
Yep, very well, thank you, Tom.
Let's have a look back over the last 12 to 18 months of the club. How do you reflect on that time? So much growth, of course.
Yeah, look, really interesting time. Tom, generally the pandemic hit in, which naturally gave us huge concerns from the outset, but in a warped kind of way, turned out to be the silver lining for us to really step back, look at what we do and what we've done, make some assessments, what worked, what wasn't working. Right from governance and the business end of the organisation to out on the floor and our operational stuff really. We were blessed in that such a great set of people and passionate people that were happy and prepared to put some time in during the lockdown period to share their thoughts on what worked, to help us get better, help us put our structures in place that we needed to really for kind of coming out the other end. So that first piece of work when the pandemic came along, which I think in March, 2020, once we got over that initial, the novelty of what a lockdown looked like, the work then really started about immediately on budget planning, how we're going to survive the period, putting some emergency operating procedures in place, which we did pretty quickly. We got an excellent board that supported us during that period and helped guide us at that time as well, which you can never put a price on really. That was invaluable support. And then realistically, it was actually, where do we want this to go when we come out the other end? That was obviously looking at our workforce, our staff, our delivery. So lots of work went into that. And then, of course, at the same time, then we were just hit with a contact out of the blue from the gaming company 2K, which just set us on a completely different journey than we probably envisaged, but was something that was always at the forefront of our minds. So, having a show court venue and the ability to seat people and run a match night was always something we'd aspired towards. And this brought us that opportunity to do it.
And just on COVID and lockdowns and all that sort of thing, how does that affect a sporting organisation? Obviously, basketball, very, very sort of close contact sport in that sort of sense. How does that sort of affect your day-to-day operations in terms of obviously having to stop all that at the start?
Yeah, well, look, the club is a lot more than what people see out there on the floor. It goes without saying, the work that goes on in the background in the office with our staff. That business side of things is one part of the organisation which we had to try and protect, and that was kind of one of the things that was one of our biggest challenges, as well as the stuff out on the floor, the stopping and starting of that, and being prepared and having contingency plans. Once COVID hit, we had to shut down operations straight away, but the important thing for us was that we were really well prepared and ready for restart whenever that was. Of course, when you've got staff that you have to furlough, or you have to stop them working, that makes that very, very difficult. So we were down to, there were a couple of us that were still operating and working for a period that took the lead on all of that, and then communicating through our volunteer workforce. Naturally, you haven't got things going out there on the floor. What we did do very quickly and recognise was that we didn't want to lose contact time with the participants and the kids and the parents and the club family, really. So our coaches and staff were amazing on that, and setting up numerous Zoom calls and video calls, and that was based just around welfare initially, but then obviously also looking at what they could do at home from a fitness point of view, trying to improve their understanding of the game. They could watch videos together online, bringing some sports psychology in. So we managed to attract a lot of support staff, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, S&C coaches during that period, that we could still bring groups together and do that work online. So we maintained our contact with participants for all the way through the COVID period. And, some of it worked well, some of it was challenging. Kids' mood swings and kids' ability to remain motivated during that period was a challenge. But we like to feel we were there for our people during that period, because obviously we couldn't be out there on the floor doing things as we wanted to. Coming out of that, the other end, the late part of the summer, we were very quick on getting out there, doing some outdoor activities as soon as we could, and even if that was in small groups that were allowed, we kind of got ourselves back to it again. The coaches were magnificent, happy to volunteer their time to go and deliver at different sites around the city, that we could just get kids out there playing again and engaging and interacting, really. So, that close down initially was hard, as it was for all sporting clubs, I guess, in the country. But we really did work hard to maintain communications and contact with parents and with kids and with our volunteer workforce as well. So, did it have a big effect on us? Of course it did, but as I mentioned earlier, it did also give us a chance to reflect and stop, which we don't normally get time to do because we have so much going on and so much delivery. Having the time to sit back and see, look, this is working, this isn't working, what could we do better, was a blessing, really, now looking back on it.
And just finally, a bit more of a personal one now. I mean, having put so much into this for the best part of 20 years, what keeps you motivated? What sort of keeps you interested and involved and putting the sort of hours that you're doing on a consistent basis? What's that sort of pin for you?
The motivation is the young people, first and foremost. Thomas, seeing how they evolve, how they develop, what they go on to. That's always been the driving force, and that will never change. At the top end, I mean, personal fulfillment in, we plan a project out, we look at what we want to do, and then we go and achieve it. The facility at Nietzsche's was a huge personal satisfaction, because it's something we've always looked at, we've always planned and talked about, and then we struck some fortune on the way. But you like to think the fact that the way we built the organisation was why we got noticed. But my motivation is that I don't see this as a job. This is part and parcel of my life. I love what I do. Yeah, it takes its toll on my personal life at times. I've got a partner that is majorly supportive, and I couldn't do this without her, and she shares the highs and the lows, and she loves the club and gets involved, and if she didn't, I wouldn't be able to carry on doing this now, and so I'm massively thankful for that. I've got some great friends that I've made through it, the board members, Kirk in particular, our business manager Jamie, who's again brings new aspects. He's a football background. That for me, wanting to learn and being open to look at how others work, makes it quite unique, because I feel we can be trailblazers in the world of basketball. Basketball, not many clubs have been able to build. That's something we've done over a long period of time. Some would say at times you could have built quicker. My response to that is that we want to be sustainable, and we always want to make sure that whatever we do never puts anything else at risk. But just to be able to grow and see the sport and see young people enjoy playing the sport that actually, that in itself proves to me that this sport can go somewhere in this country. It should be huge, can be huge, and if we can be at the forefront of that's motivation in itself. And it's I've transitioned from coaching for many years to I'm even this week I've done a little bit of coaching, but I've stepped right away from the court and got myself some, if you like, some new goals now, fresh goals, running the business and developing other coaches, and seeing them flourish and seeing people fall in love with the club in the same way that I did over the years. That's a lot of my motivation. But I love doing what I do. I'm blessed. I feel very fortunate to be in the position I am, and I will always treasure that and work really hard, to ensure that I never take that for granted.